Moin Moin. Is that the way we greet in Hamburg? Or should I say Guten Morgen? Because that's the only German I know. I'm so sorry. Um, is it working? No? I think you have to wear your headphones. Yeah. You have to wear those headphones. I think that's the only way you can hear. What's the button? Yeah. And you have to turn on the power button. This button out there. I'll give a few seconds before I start then. Yeah? All good? Okay, super. I've got two encouraging things here. One, the first one is I'm not competing with Kim Kardashian here. And the second one, it's an English session, and all of you have come in. So extremely thank you for taking your time to listen about customer experience. So we have about 90 minutes together. I hope you all will stay till the end. And the idea here is to take you through various stages of customer experience. To start with, who am I? I am Suvish. I head the marketing for Zoho Corporation's UK and Europe division. I have been with the company for quite some time, and about 14, 15 years in the industry. We as a company, we build customer tools, customer experience tools, customer support tools, and a lot of other tools. I'm not going to bore you talking about the company. I will talk about it at the end. Along with me later, I'll be joined by the Chief Strategy Officer of Wattline GmbH. They are an energy company. They're based out of Austria and Germany as well. Peter Langeder, he's here. He's going to share about his experience of building the whole customer journey. Interestingly, coincidentally, they won the Best Customer Advocacy Customer Champion Award for Germany just a few days ago. So it'll be interesting to hear what they have in plan or what kind of tools they are using, all of that when we have this panel at the end of the session. So to introduce the session, we are going to cover multiple stages of customer experience. We start with laying a foundation of what's needed for CX, why CX is needed, right? And then we'll go to the stage where we talk about integration versus unification. Most often, these two words are used in wrong context. We believe that integration and unification both are same, but I think that requires to be clarified. Third topic we'll cover is about employee experience. Now, why employee experience is important when you want to give a good experience to your customers. Fourth, we are going to cover about analytics, why business intelligence and how business intelligence data can be retrieved from multiple tools. After that, we are going to cover a little bit about AI. I'm not going to dig deeper into AI because I think there are a lot of sessions here talking about AI. So here we'll give a very realistic view of what artificial intelligence, where we are going, what kind of models you can think about, because it's not always about large language models. And then a bit on the data regulation and the security of the data that's required when it comes to CX. And at the end, there'll be a little bit introduction about the company, what we do, before I bring in Peter on stage to talk. So let's start with that, right? So this is a very basic slide, but then there is an important message here. So I remember about 12, 13 years ago when I visited Disneyland in Orlando. How many of you have visited Disneyland? And how many of you remember it? Yeah, all of you. Whoever have visited, right? And those of you who have kids who have visited 10, 15, 20 years ago, they want to take their kids back to Disneyland. Why? Because they make the memory of going to Disneyland so amazing. And it's not often about the cartoon characters that you can meet, but it's about, when I went about 12 years ago to Orlando Disneyland, starting with the website, the way you can choose the package, the content that you provide there, When you go there, you get that swipe thing on your wristband where you can go to the different rides. Every employee over there at Disneyland, their job is to make sure that any questions you ask, you get the answers. You get the answers of where the rides are, where you can get the food, the best hotel, and all of that. And that has been around for the last 20, 30 years. Disneyland was much ahead of their time when they started introducing technology. And the same experience you would see when you go to Apple Store in anywhere in the world. You go to Apple Store, you go to talk to any of their employees, they would know how to delight you. So you will see Lego, Apple, Disneyland. There are some common traits in these companies. And the most common you would see is the focus on customer satisfaction, customer delight. And why is it important? Apple is not the only phone company out there in the market. Many of us over here, we are using Samsung, we are using Motorola, different companies. There are so many amusement parks around the world, but we still remember Disneyland. So you have to see that this goes beyond the product. Because every company out there is competing for your time, attention, and money. Right? So how do we get, as a business, your customers' time, attention, money, to ensure that they stay with you longer, they spend with you longer, they go or they remain with you as a champion, as an advocate? I think that's what is the most important part. So when you look at it, offering a product versus offering an experience, it's a choice. Apple could have just built the product and then just sold the product from on the e-commerce website like many other phone companies do. Disneyland just could have built that amusement park and people are coming in, they have holidays, and then they just could have continued for last several decades. But it's a choice. So for example, when I checked into my hotel yesterday, I saw this. So this you would have seen in many hotels. It's not something which is only available in this hotel. It's a very common practice these days where you don't have to stand in queue for checking in. You can just go swipe your QR code, your hotel confirmation, and you get the keys. So if you look at this is a very small, and I thought this could be important for my talk today because it's just a small, very little example of going that additional mile to delight the customer right at the time when they're checking in. Because when when people are coming in from train, from flight, they're tired, they don't want to stand in a queue. They just want to go check in, go to their room, right? And I have seen so many hotels, because I travel a lot. Sometimes, you're standing in the queue, you're coming maybe half an hour early and they are not ready to check in. So this is just a very small example of how and why experience should be at the core of the business strategy. Now, when we look at it, at Zoho, we talk to many, many, many customers around the world. And many of them use multiple products of ours. So it's not just one product. They're probably using CRM or customer support or BI. And when you look at that, we often find a common sort of errors or trends across the customer board, where they go and they keep buying tools. And you would have seen it in your organization as well. I want a tool for sales, let's buy a CRM. I want a tool for customer support, let's buy a ticketing software or an analytics software. Or I want to buy all these software to work together, let's buy an API builder. So it's always about just, put a tool in place, let's try to solve the problem. And when we do the consultation services with our partners and all, we realize that what they miss is a vision to determine what should be the goal of my company with respect to customer experience and how that vision should translate to the business outcome. That's very important. If you are putting that self-check-in kiosk, how is that impacting more customers coming to my hotel? Once you have the vision laid out, then the second step there comes in, to rethinking the customer journey. Now, why rethinking? Because sometimes, if I have to take an example of that self-check-in kiosk that I saw in the hotel yesterday, earlier the customer journey was people are coming in, standing in the queue, and then trying to do a check-in. But now I have to rethink that, hey, there could be two sets of people. People are coming in and self-check-in, and then there are also people on the queue. So how do I look at that as a new journey and then put tools there? Put product software that could help in faster checking, that could help in bringing in the information from multiple sources, providing the support, right support. So once you have crossed that second layer, then comes the third layer. Hey, I have thought about a vision. I have thought about the journey and the tools, but can I make this whole experience, whole journey more sustainable? And when I say sustainable, it is not just about environmental sustainability. It is about how can I make sure that this process lasts for decades to come? Now, Disneyland has been providing that experience for the last 2-3 decades. So how can I make that sustainable? Second most important point that I see often here is making sure your employees are aware of the goals that you have. Do they have the right tools, right information to provide customer experience decision to delight the customer? So that is about the employee experience. The third part to that comes in, do they have feedback loop? Do we have feedback loop for every step, every journey, so that it can be improved? Because every time there is a new technology that comes into the market. For example, a few years ago, WhatsApp was not very common in customer service. Although WhatsApp became quite common in B2C segment, maybe 10 years ago, right? But it was not common in B2B segment. B2B caught up with it much later, because then they realized the consumers are using WhatsApp for all their interactions. Can I add WhatsApp as a channel on my support? So if you have to embed a new technology, then you need to have the flexibility at the top to make sure that your processes are sustainable and it can withstand new technology improvements that are coming in. So these are 3 layers. We'll cover one by one each of these layers, dissect it, and then see how this can be made better. And in all these 3 layers, you would see technology is one of the entities. Why I say this is because we have so many marketing slogans and promises made on the internet where we say, hey, use this tool, you will get CX better by 20% or whatever, right? But technology doesn't do everything. Technology is just an enabler to realize your vision that you have for your company. Last year, at about October, November timeframe, we ran a survey. We ran a survey across digital leaders in 5 European countries, UK, Germany, France, and Spain. From Germany, what we found, this is no surprise here, I'm sure many of you would relate to this, that 40% of digital leaders in Germany, they say they don't have full visibility of the customer journey, which means they are probably using multiple tools. Each of these tools are handling one of the other tasks, but they don't get end-to-end visibility. And end-to-end visibility is often a marketing slogan, right? So because I am a marketer, I would be, probably I would have written a copy sometime back in my career that, hey, use this tool, get an end-to-end visibility. But then what is it? What is end-to-end visibility? Now let's look at typical customer journey. How many of you have an e-commerce website here? Yeah, okay. I mean, today you cannot, I think, have a good business model without having it online, I think. So let's look at this as an e-commerce website, right? You have a website where, on the website, you make it all intuitive, mobile ready, blah, blah, blah. And when you look at the website as a sales medium, you have multiple channels. You have an active chat going on there. There is an email, there is contact form, phone calls, all of that. And then you have payment systems, which you have to integrate, multiple payment systems, multiple countries. You need to have help resources. So if you look at this is a very typical customer journey that you have. Now, in this journey itself, when you divide it, you will see a part of your business is back office, and a portion of it is front office, right? So back office is where your ERP systems would sit in, your accounting, taxation, compliances, all of that. You know, people consider it as the boring stuff, but that's what gets the work done. Inventory. If you are in e-commerce, you need to have real-time inventory visibility on your CRM for your sales to sell. So that's all back office. Then the front office is your CRMs of the world, customer support, your business intelligence, your marketing tools. All of these are different tools that you have in any mid-scale, large-scale organization. Are you all with me so far? Yeah? Okay, good. So now when you look at this journey and these different tools, what is the problem here? Each of these functions, they revolve around the nature of their work. Although they are all separate. Sales, what is the main KPI? Sell better, sell faster, sell more, right? Marketing, shout out loud, right? Finance, you have to get the, I mean, I hate to say that, but spreadsheet is the most popular tool there, right? Then what is the problem? Now you have functions, each of them are doing their job. Where's the problem? I'll give a few seconds here. Do you all relate to this cartoon? Yeah? So this is, I don't know if you guys follow him. I think you should. I've been following him for last, I think, 10, 12 years. Tom Fishbone. So he does all these marketing cartoonist thing. And he releases these tunes almost on a regular basis, quite regular basis, of a funny twist to the realities of your business world, right? And this is very, very common in our business today. The problem is this, right? So this is a stack that Scott Brinker, he does it every year. This is just marketing, mind you. This doesn't involve any other tools. It's just marketing tools. Look at the number of tools that have come into the market from 2011 to 2023 last year. What started as 150 tools in the market, last year there were 11,000 tools that they could recognize that they could put in this landscape. So we see, if I had to connect the problems again, I see back office, front office, every department working for their own jobs. And then I see all these different tools that are in the market. And you see the reality. The problem is 62%. This is about from Microsoft. 62% of people, they find it difficult to source the right information. There are no surprises here, right? So you have so many tools in your organization. How do you get the right information? What is a single source of truth about your customer, about your employees who are working on those tools? The reality, when you look at it, businesses use tens of apps. It's good for us, us as a vendor. Zoho, we have 60 different applications. It's good. Customers are using so many apps. Good. But then the problem comes when all these tools are working in silos. Because then silos create silos within the organization. Sales wouldn't know what's marketing doing. How many of you can relate? I have almost weekly calls. Sales is saying, hey, what is marketing doing? Where are the leads? What is the quality of leads? Marketing doesn't know what legal requirements are. Legal doesn't know what customer support requirements are. So tools, when you buy tools for each function, each work item, it creates boundaries within the organization. It's the reality of today, right? And then what we said, let's put integration. Let's integrate all these apps together. That's the solution, probably. But what we see, integration is often a patchwork. And why we say that? So we have about 60 tools, like I said. None of these tools are acquired. We built it over the last 28 years. Despite we building it, despite it being built on same technology platform, we have integration challenges. Now imagine you buying tools from 10 different vendors who are often acquired by a larger vendor, and you trying to integrate them together. You're making a Frankenstein monster, right? So then, is unification a better alternative to integration? But I thought unification and integrations are same. But it's not possible technically if you're using multiple apps, disparate apps, trying to patch it together with APIs. It's difficult to get a unified experience. And this is from our own experience. Let's take an example, okay? You have tens of apps. How do you log into each of the apps? Let's get one more app, right? Let's get an app which can do single sign-on. You plug into Microsoft, Salesforce, whatever XYZ tools you are having. We also have an SSO tool. I'm shamelessly plugging in Zoho here, but then I have to because that's how I can give you a real-time example. Single sign-on, okay, you got in. How do you provision it? Sales doesn't want to use, they don't have to use a marketing campaign tool. Legal doesn't have to use a customer support tool. Then how do you provision each of these apps? Role-based access and all of that. Get one more app, right? How do we apply policies across the organization? Bring one more app. How do we manage licenses? Finance team wants to see what is the license usage. I am paying thousands of euros every month on new licenses. How do we manage those licenses? Let's get one more app. Billing, one more app. And then let's integrate all of them together. Let's get one API app. So you see the problem here? Now you are using 10 apps. Your data is in 10 different applications. How do we search? Now, if I want to search, what's the influence of marketing spend on Google AdWords on the sales? Right? These are 3 different applications. Let's use one more app. And what is the name of that app? Microsoft Excel. Right? That's what we do, right? So we have all the best of the apps, and still we end up using Microsoft Excel. Right? So it's the reality. Just keep bringing more and more app. And today, the question to all these, or answer to all this problem is, let's bring one more app. But the problem is each app, additionally, it brings in complexity. And that sometimes we realize only when we become too big and we see so many apps, so many problems, so many data silos, we see that as a problem. And that's why we say integration is not unification. That's integration versus unification, where you are trying to patch apps together versus something that is built ground up, right from the networking layer to the app layer to the database layer. All of these on a single stack is what we believe is the answer to patched up integration work. Now, this is an example. This is a very rudimentary view of what could be a unified view. Now, this you can achieve using integration, using APIs. This is nothing out of box here. Now, to get something like this, you have all these different departments, right? Your marketing, sales, services, the back-end operations. Each of these departments, as you can see here, they have different tasks to do. And at the bottom of it, you have your voice of customer, because your voice of customer, the customer feedback comes from multiple departments. The data has to be analyzed across the departments. The security, privacy shield. If you look at this, is a big framework that's used for managing your customer operations across multiple departments. And then how do you bring a unified structure to this? It's a complex problem to solve. And in all these things, what matters is employee experience. You have built all the technology layers and all of that. But what if you have all these technology, but then you are not able to get the buy-in of your employees? Because at the end of the day, employees, we are sitting at the back of the software to work on our day-to-day work, right? What if we are getting all the technology, but then you still have, the same boring view. So this is a book, I don't know if you have read this. I've read it a few years ago, The Employee Experience Advantage, and why it is important. This is a topic that is often not spoken in context to customer experience, because in customer experience, we only speak about tools that are customer facing. And we ignore tools that are required not just for bringing your customer data together, but also to ensure that the employees are having a good time on the tool. And that's important. Experience of employees, it's important. Because your employees, again, are not working in siloed departments. And here again, you will see technology as one of the entities. Now, what is the expectation here? Your CX platform should be collaborative. Why collaborative? Let's take an example of sales and legal. Now, sales signs up a contract, or rather is in process of signing a contract. They need to send the contract to legal. What is today's process? Today's process is send that contract on email to the legal team, and then there is back-end emails with the legal and sales. Can it be that the sales and legal, they both work on the same platform, collaborate on the contract, and get the work done? Can it be connected? Connected with context, which means sales and legal, let's take an example, they have to chat with each other to work on a contract. Can that chat be contextual, which means when the sales is working, CRM is right in front of the person, legal tool is right in front of the person, and they are having a contextual chat between each other? And can it be employee driven instead of vendor driven? Now that's a very important thing. Me as a vendor should not be imposing my design on you as a customer. You as a customer should have the power, the availability, the flexibility to make your own interface, make your own tool, customize the modules that you want, things like that. Employee driven instead of vendor driven. So this is possible when you unify it end to end. Because with unification, you have the control to change the way your tools look, the way your backend systems should work, should retrieve the data, and things like that. And it also leads to that superior personalization. When you often look at personalization, you often talk about personalization from customer's context. Your customer from Germany versus a customer from, say, Spain, personalized, how can you provide personalized experience, right? Or different genders, or different age group, all of that, segmentation of customers, right? But then what about the personalization that happens at the back end? Employees who are sitting on the tools, in all these different tools, how can you make sure that they are also having a personalized experience? So this is an option with unification, right? So you can have a unification with just a very boring regular view. Or you can have a beautiful experience where you can change. Now, this is again possible because you control the whole stack. You know where the data is coming in. You can change the modules. You can change the way the tool looks like according to your brand instead of the brand that is being pushed by the vendor. Because we all, at the end of the day, we are consumers, right? So there was I read this somewhere, that a B2B employee today also wants whatever the experience they are getting. So 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., the apps, the experience that you get from your work apps should be same what the experience you get at 5 to 9 apps, which means the app you use to order your food, order your taxi, you would see there is a striking difference between the experience of these apps, because consumer apps are more slick, more faster, they have better UI design. Why should B2B apps be boring? Right? So because B2B is a complex business scenario, you have multiple apps, multiple data points, and all of that. It also helps when you are unified, when you are in multiple stacks. What also it helps is on offering the customer personalized experience for the customer. Now here I move from personalization to more simplification, right? often is if you are using a tool and the tool is very difficult to customize, to make new workflows or to experiment with new workflows, then you often resist. Okay, let's not change it because then I have to call a new consultant to make the change done. But instead, can the tool provide you the option to make the changes on the interface itself instead of someone developing it? Now, these are some things to keep in mind when you are looking at your CX platform strategy, CX technology rollout. How simple it is to use for your employees, how much customization you can do. Is the stack unified? So we covered all of these points now, right? And then at the end, when the person who is managing the customer experience, how is that person, or are we going to give that person the whole visibility on who, feedback, support, and all of that? And can we do that all on a single interface? Now you would be asking yourself, hey, this is quite possible with my tool that I have 10 tools in my workplace. I can bring all of that together on an external dashboard. This is a very possible scenario. But then how fast the scenario can be done, how much does it cost to the business, and how sustainable it is to make changes is what you should ask as you plan your CX rollout. So what we see quite often that happens is improved employee experience. That means the employee experience that they have on the tool. It elevates the service standards because you are able to support your customer faster. It gives you obviously more customer satisfaction, better customer ratings. I think Peter is going to talk about it a little bit when we are doing the panel. And then at the end, they will continue to renew the business with you because they are having that experience. Apple fan people, they don't change the brand. No matter, every year Apple is increasing the prices. Every new operating system is slowing down your iPhone's performance. Doesn't matter. I will still stand in the queue to get the latest iPhone. And that's what matters here, right? So what it also helps is reducing the friction. Because me as an employee, if I'm in a customer support or in sales, I have full visibility of what's happening with the customer and I can make the decision then and there. Remember about the top of the pyramid, right? Sustainable transformation across the CX strategy. So now we have the data, we have unified tool. Now how do we make the decisions? Third stage, right? So while all these departments have to work together, they also have to have right autonomy to make decisions. So then that's where data comes into picture. So you have multiple, can your tool bring in these data together? Like for sales, can they have sales dashboards, marketing dashboards? I'll just quickly run through this, support dashboards. All of this is coming in from the single stack because you cannot just say, okay, let's destroy all the boundaries and then let's all work together. It doesn't work that way. Each of these departments have to decide, make decisions on a day-to-day basis. They have KPIs to follow. They have goals to make and all of that. So then you need to make departmental decisions. And that departmental decision, it will come when you can build all these dashboards independently. How can I have a session without AI, right? So AI and customer experience. Now this has been, since 2022, since ChatGPT and all came, 2023, right? I think we all have some knowledge of AI. So there is a lot of, then the question that we often ask is, what is the best AI implementation? I'm not going to get what is AI and all. I think we all have sufficient knowledge and there's a lot of articles out there on internet. But then what is the best AI implementation for your company? And I think answer is very simple, although it is very complicated at the back end, but front end, it looks very simple. when the customer doesn't know that they are using AI, right? I can talk about hundreds of jargons here, but at the end of the day, if I am, say, we all are going to use our scans to buy things from OMR, to eat, drink, and all of that, and I have to submit my receipts to the finance department at the end of the OMR. This is my business expense, right? And I scan with my expense management app. The scan takes up all the data from your receipts, Reshnum, Kazenbonk, right? So these are, right? So when you take it, there is a software that works at the back end. What is that software? OCR, right? Which reads the data and it brings onto your screen. That is a small model of AI, right? But it's not LLM. You would have thought everything in AI is LLM. No, it is not. So it's about how even that small thing of scanning your receipt using expense management app and getting the data right instead of typing in the data, it's about the output. And that output gives you the value. Because you then don't have to spend time in typing the data, hey, this is what category is this? Is it food or is it transportation, whatever that is? Because the tool can intelligently categorize your expense, scan the data, and bring it in front of you to approve, okay, it's good to go to the finance team for reimbursements, right? So there are already a lot of tools that are available in the market today. But we are talking about contextual intelligence. I don't want to throw one more buzzword here, but let me see if I can explain what this is and why it is important from B2B context. Okay? Let's go back to kindergarten, right? ABC. A for artificial intelligence, B for business context, gleich, C for contextual intelligence. So I'm also, learning German by teaching my daughter my daughter's House of Gaben. So I'm trying to learn German that way. So the gleich is from there. So then when you look at this, right? AI, we all know, but what is business context? Because you have your, let's take an example of different tools. CRM for sales, marketing automation for marketing, you have business intelligence tool. Maybe you are using Tableau, maybe you are using Zoho, I don't know, right? You're using then multiple other tools for ERPs and all of that. Each of these tools have their own data. And their data is very contextual to your business. Now, do you want an LLM for that? Maybe not. Because when you look at the business context has roles, it has permission, it has data, it has various other layers that if you are using an AI there, then your data should be accessible to only to these departments, only to these functions. Right? So how do you marinate the business context and add intelligence to it so that you get some contextual value as an output? Now, what does that mean? This is one of the screenshots from one of our products. Now, you come in the morning, you see, it greets you, good morning, whatever your name is, and it brings you the task of all that thing that you have to do in the morning or on that day. So it gives you, instead of you going to, let's see what all is there here, right? So you have 3 meetings scheduled. Meetings, where is it coming from? Your calendar, right? You have priority task that is planned for this week. Where is this coming from? Your project management tool. You have 3 escalations from customers. Where is that coming from? Your customer support tool, where your tickets are logged in. You have mentions on Click. Click is Zoho's version of internal chat, like Microsoft Teams. Maybe you have Microsoft Teams or Slack or whatever that you use. So you see that all these are different notifications that are coming from various B2B apps that you use in your organization. Now that's the context that I was talking about. Now, adding intelligence on top of this context is what contextual intelligence that is required for B2B today. It's not just ChatGPT. So I bring this back. And then what are the different models that are needed today? So we believe we have Zoho Labs, and we believe over the years that we have been doing research on AI for about 12 years now. And all these different models we have released to the market, except the last one, LLM. And we see that all these things, so narrow model, for example, the OCR text example that I gave, it's an example of narrow model. 3 to 5 billion parameters, that's all you need for these smaller things, right? You have very functional requirement narrow model. Medium, large, small scale, 5 to 7 billion parameters, that's what you need. Prediction, forecasting in sales, for example. These are examples of small language model. Medium language model, it goes beyond, up to 20 billion parameters, where you need translation, intelligence in AV, audio, video. Whenever you use Zoom, Zoho Meeting, Microsoft Teams, you have noise cancellation in that. What is that? That is an example of medium language model. So your noise, the tool is AV stack. It is able to compare with what's required, what's optimum noise required, and what is it currently there. It cancels out. It gives you better clarified audio. That's an example of medium language model. And then large language model, we all know. We've heard about it quite a lot. So it is up to more than 50 billion parameters, where it's no more GPUs, it's much faster computation that is required and all of that. And we can see that OpenAI, it's been there in the market for 1.5, 2 years now or more. And they are having financial issues because it's not easy to run LLMs at that scale. So the conclusion I'm trying to make here is LLMs is not the only answer to AI implementation within your organization. You have multiple models out there in the market that's needed for your organization. So you have to choose what it is. For example, when you look at, this is a screenshot from Zoho CRM, where you are very common use case, right? Your CRMs today can predict what is the win rate for your sales deals. What are we using here? Are we using LLMs here? No, we are not. We don't need that. Sentiment analysis. This is a screenshot from our customer support software. When you get an angry email from the customer, you have certain keywords the software can analyze. So instead of giving to an intern, it can be assigned to a senior expert so that you support the customer well. Again, not an example of LLM. So what we are seeing, these are just very limited examples that we are seeing from a B2B context. But as a business, what we are looking at is there is a need for more development, right? And we are seeing that more and more today in the market. In fact, I think the most disruptive development that is happening is AI agents. And this is going to impact customer engagement, customer experience big time. We are seeing requirements from that from our customers themselves, right? AI agents what is an AI agent? It's a piece of software that can autonomously decide a workflow, improve it, and re-implement the latest one, whatever is the most optimum thing. So AI agent developments around that is picking up pace quite vigorously. In the B2B context, we see RAG, right? Retrieve, augment, generative, right? So that's something which we are seeing more and more. And this will further, the developments that are happening now, it will further elevate our ability to provide better customer experience. Our ability to ensure that our team's time and resources, they are well utilized, right? Data management, we are seeing that a lot of that is already part of Zoho's tools as well. Many other tools in the market where Can you cleanse the data? Can you prepare the data? Can you then make the data available in a much more cleaner way to the tools so that you can analyze it better? That is the second area which is fast developing. There are a lot of research, a lot of work that's already there in the market for you to try. Third is a subset of an AI agent there, but then you have customer journey mapped out on your tools. If your customer is coming on your website, trigger this action. If they are sending an email, trigger this action. Now that's a very manual process. Now what we are seeing developments today is where this whole thing can be recommended, improved using AI. So these are, again, it all matters. Your artificial intelligence is as intelligent as the data that you have. That's what, right? Your car is as good as the brakes it has. So it's the same concept. And we are seeing a lot of these developments that are happening around the business landscape. But then, with the AI, what about the data regulations, the security of it, right? We often hear this question from the customer because you have so many data regulations happening around the world. EU is no guest to this, right? So we have very stringent AI policies here in EU. And it's not just EU, it's everywhere in the world. Governments are bringing in regulations to make sure that the monopolies of this world, they are not, or big giants of this tech landscape, they are not utilizing your data to monetize more and more. So you see that regulations coming in. So the common question that I keep hearing from our customers is this: why are you using my data to train your model? And I'm sure you would have asked this in your meetings as well, right? So what if I have a tool that uses an external LLM, let's say OpenAI, let's say whatever, right? You're using that tool, you're sending the data because that tool has to get better with time. It needs data. So then is your data staying in the EU? Is your data going to some other place? What is the vendor's model to train the data? These are the questions that we get. At least from Zoho side, we have our own AI, so we don't send it to LLMs. So these questions are becoming more and more as the businesses are becoming more aware of what the implications of AI could be. So we have covered a lot of these points. I bring back my pyramid. Start with the vision, start with understanding what your experience should be, then map the tools, the process, the people, and then look at the first two pyramid if it's sustainable, if your employees can follow it for the decades to come. That's what we are looking at. But at the end, okay, few more seconds to read this tweet. This came 2-3 months ago, and I thought, is it visible for people at the end? Okay. If you want, I can read this, right? So you get a message in Slack with a link to Confluence Doc, very common app, to prepare for a meeting on Zoom, where you take notes on Notion, track projects on Monday.com, and then update on the Trello. That's the reality of B2B business landscape today. And is it common? Yeah? Okay, I see a lot of nods there. Good. But the key word here is, again, unification. I'm harping on this topic again and again because this is the missing link. Now, a little bit about the company, who we are, before I bring in Peter. So we are 28 years old. So we started in 1996, just to avoid mathematical calculation there. So 1996, we have about 15,000 employees around the world. There are about 50 applications that we have, all of them built in-house, none of them acquired. And I say that very proudly because it's not common in today's tech world to see so many applications without acquisition. We have customers in 150 plus countries, And last year, we crossed 100 million users worldwide. Germany's population is 80 million. So yeah, we have a country. And about 750,000 businesses worldwide use our product, which means they use at least one of the 50 apps and they pay us for that. We are a private company, so we are not on any publicly listed market. So that's another example of sustainable business. There are tons of tools, like I mentioned. I will not bore you with that. We have a booth here, so you can always come there. Unification, right? So this has been our core of our philosophy. Build the tools that can work with each other, not let that happen to the customer and then let them integrate. No. And this is an example of that unification that I mentioned. The unification that touches every touch point of the customer, right? So channels, various channels that they're using, services, operations. You know, if you are in a business where field services have to be used, do you have an FSM, right? So while you bring in this unification, each of these departments have to work independently. And that's what this is about. We are a global company, but we are here in Germany as well. We have opened our office in Germany about 2 years ago, but we have our partners for a very long time here. One of our partners is here. She's been with us for 12 years now, yeah, in Germany. And these are data centers. These are data centers that are not on any hyperscaler. So we don't use Amazon, Microsoft, or Google or something. We have our own data centers. 2 of them are in EU. And this has been there for a long time. Last, I want to leave with this quote, because this, again, brings back, I don't know if he said that, by the way, but I read somewhere, I like the quote, and then I saw his name right next to the quote, so I hope he has said that. But looking at Apple stores, I'm sure he wanted to say this, right? Okay, so now let me take this opportunity to bring in Peter on stage with me.
Hello, everybody. I hope you hear me. Yes?
It's okay? Yeah? Okay. Good. Thank you, Peter.
Welcome.
And thank you, everyone, for staying thus far. So I think, so what I have for the last 20 minutes, and then we'll have some Q&A, right? We want to have this more interactive, is to talk to Peter to really get a real-time example, because as a vendor, I can talk about 100 different things, but as a listener, for you to relate, it is important that you hear from one of you. Peter was kind enough to come all the way from Austria. He was in his vacation, but he said, "Okay, let me take this opportunity to talk about CX." Right? So I have a few questions, Peter, but we'll open it up for the audience to ask questions later. So let's make that more interactive. So why don't we start with who you are? What's your company about? Maybe with that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Peter. I'm working on the company Wattline, and I oversee corporate development and the digital transformation. As Wattline, we are one of the leading purchasing communities for energy, electricity, and gas in Germany and Austria. And therefore, we make better deals for our small and medium enterprises since 1999. So we have about 29,000 customers, so companies, and we bundle energy purchasing volume about 2 billion euros a year. And since 10 years, we are also one of the leading independent metering providers in Germany.
1999, so that's Silver Jubilee for you this year.
Yeah, of course.
Congratulations.
Yes. We will have a big party in September.
Okay, am I invited?
Yeah, of course.
tell about putting the customer on spot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of customers do you have, Peter? Like you said about 29,000, 30,000 customers. Who are they and what industries they are from and how do they reach to you?
Yeah, we are exclusively in the B2B market. So that also brings some challenges if you think about customer experience. So in the B2C market, it's clear you have a customer and there's a person behind it. So you can build unique customer experience journeys and customer journeys. If you talk about B2B customers, it's getting challenging because you have different contact persons, you have changing decision makers in the companies. So it's not that easy to build unique and personalized customer journeys. So that's our challenge.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, how do you reach out? There are different ways. We're working with regional sales partners, so we have also offline channels, and I think every online channels you imagine. So the various touch points.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned that, I think it's very difficult when you have offline and online multiple, it's like equivalent to having a retail store and also an e-commerce store, right? Because you have people coming in from different channels.
Yeah, it's you talked a lot about data,
Yeah.
and that's pretty challenging
Okay.
if you are working with impersonal contact points. If you have some consulting, it's not easy to get structured data out of it. And if you don't have structured data, you can't build any customer journey with clear trigger points and a good experience. So that's the most difficult part.
So when you are the chief strategy officer for the organization as well, so you would have been part of the stage where you were laying out the customer journey, right?
Yeah.
As we spoke about that pyramid, the vision of it, right? Uh, can you give us some details on, not getting into details, but then, how was that journey of laying the vision? What did you consider back then?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different if you have build a new company. So maybe you have a startup, so it's pretty easy. You can build it up from scratch. You can design the customer experience and then product and everything else. With a company with a history of 25 years, it's pretty difficult. So there are processes, we have products. So we go step for step and build also only small steps at the beginning, because we are not we weren't able to build the whole customer experience and customer journey overall, because we don't have the data, we don't have the single point of truth. So there are so many challenges, and so for us was the best way. We started step for step and then go further.
Yeah. No, I think this is where these kind of fireside chat helps because I can put theory out there,
Yeah, of course.
lay the customer journey, lay the foundation, but then it's always step by step, iterative improvement, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so when you were laying that foundation and today, when you look back last 6, 7 years, what's your definition of customer experience? Like, how do you define CX today in your company?
Um, and at first, it's one component to increase the company's success and the profitability. So we are a company, so we have to make money. So it's one that part. And overall, for me, it's an overall framework to plan, manage, and control every touch point in the customer lifetime circle. And for me, I'm thinking it's you don't have, or you're not able to look at customer experience isolated. So we also talk about how you get 5 stars reviews.
Yeah.
You can have the best customer experience and the best customer journeys, But if you're not able to engage your customers, to give really feedback and to give you the reviews, you can't buy anything from it. So I think it's not only the customer experience. You have to talk about a lot about customer engagement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in this, when you look at the journey and the experience that you are trying to build, there are a lot of tools that comes into picture here, right? So you have your back office, front office that we spoke about. So what's your little bit about your technology stack? You don't have to name the vendors if you don't want to.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Because we have a very special rule in the energy market, so there was no really good software package we can buy. So we decided to build our own ERP software. Then we also decided to buy a software for all the customer touch points and CRM, so a desk. There we have Zoho and a lot of applications therefore. And then we also have a lot of online tools, some special applications for every if you told something about the finance and the controlling stuff. So we have a lot of applications, and there the most challenge is to have one single point of truth.
Yeah.
So we were pretty good in building a lot of silos, data lakes in the last 25 years. So it's pretty challenges for me if you are going to try to make a digital transformation and you have the historical challenges. So it's not that easy, but we try step for step to integrate the systems. We build a lot of APIs and data warehouses. So let's get better.
Okay. Okay. No, it's I think as the company grows older and older, the legacy systems also become older, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's always difficult to get those data working together. Um, so when you were looking at these tools in the market, what was your selection criteria? Like how were you? Because I think this is one big problem, right? So we saw just in marketing, you have 12,000 tools, 11,000 something, and you have so many vendors, so many different tools. How do you select a tool? What's the buying process?
Yeah, we thought a lot about it and discussed a lot about the right tools. So we looked at a lot of specialized tools from big companies, from specialized companies. We landed with Zoho because for us it was pretty good to have a lot of apps integrated in one data stack. So we don't have, if we buy 10 apps, we have the 10 data silos and also the price model. So that's,
you know, they often say that, right? So the licensing is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, of course.
The real cost lies really underneath.
Yeah, you have a lot of cost with consulting and something else, but also with the licenses. If you think about your business day and how many apps you work, and you have a look behind the scenes, there are so much license costs for every these small apps. And in total, it costs a lot of money.
So. No, in fact, now there is I got to know this a couple of years ago, there's a category in the SaaS business, and that category is just looking at efficiently managing your licenses. There's so many apps and so many licenses to manage. Often in a large enterprise, what you see is you would probably buy 1,000 licenses and you probably are using just 100 of them. You know?
And also historical, you have something, or a lot of functional double in different systems. So a clearing process with licenses and software stack is also.
Okay. So when you mentioned about your technology stack a little bit and what's the experience in selecting these tools. Now, when you talk about, now there are so many companies, I guess, here also who are embarking on this journey or trying to see some examples that they can learn. What will be your learnings, mistakes that you would have done that you'd want to advise, hey, don't go there?
Do not focus too much on your own company. I think that's the first one or first mistake. Go out, have a look, try to find the benchmark you want to reach, and then try to beat it. And if there's no really benchmark you find, then you have to build your own benchmark. And I think that's the way you can go. And talk to your customers.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, like,
one of the most parts. And also be your own customer. I think you will be surprised what your experience will be. So a lot of big companies and also in our company, if you use it, the product and the customer experience on your own, you will be surprised many times.
Yeah, no, it's very true. You know, for our operations as well, like for 15,000 employees, about so many countries, we have offices. We don't use any third-party tools. Everything is internal, and our CEO is very strict about it. He's like, eat your own dog food, right? You will know where the mistakes are if you start using it. So marketing, sales, when you're fighting, are you using the tool, right? So I think that's a very good point that you said. Be your own customer, right? I think
And
that's.
as I think you told one thing about not only customer experience and employee experience.
Employee experience.
So you can't expect that your employees will work on the best customer experience if they don't have the tools and the experience of your own.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's an important point. Now, when you look at, I think one thing when we were discussing this customer experience, especially if you are a global company, and if you are in a role to talk to customers from multiple countries, the expectations could be different. So how do you, so if you have audience here who are operating in multiple countries, what is the difference that you see, at least let's say Germany and Austria for your operations, right? Do you see any difference in expectations that people can take from?
We are pretty lucky. So we are only in Germany and Austria. And I think of the perspective of customer experience, I think these two countries are the easiest to combine a customer experience because you have the same language. You have nearly the same cultural aspects. So this is pretty easy. But there are also some, also if we both countries speak German, it's not always easy that each other understand them. So we have a lot of companies and customers with maybe as Tyrol with a very strong dialect. So it's not so easy for a German person to understand and otherwise.
Yeah.
So, and if you think about other countries, I think the concept of customer experience is all over the world the same. So because it's focused on the customer, and so there will be differences from each culture to each culture, from each country to each country, but I think that the basic fundamentals are the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. How do you measure it? So you have put all these plans and systems, people in place. I think there's also this focus on how do I improve, how do I measure, right? So what's your go-to strategy for measurement?
It's different, and we have a different stuff how we measure. I think like everybody, we try to collect a lot of 5 stars on the common search engines and other stuff. We also work with external partners. They ask a lot of people from us. So you told it. We get an award, the German Customer Champion, where the focus is on the fan quote of the customers. So there are different ways and a lot of other customer interviews and something like this.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Last, before I open up to the audience, AI. I've given some perspective from what as a vendor would. What do you see? How do you see AI coming in this particular part of the world, and where is it heading? You have a crystal ball?
No. Yeah, I think not only in the energy sector, but I think in every industry, AI will be making a lot of changes. Nobody can say how deep they will be, how fast they are because of regulations, of technology
Yeah.
stuff. And if you think about it in the context of customer experience, I think most companies try to optimize the customer experience, the customer journeys with the support of AI. If we talk about get faster to data, have some chatbots and stuff like this. So for me, as the strategy view, it's also, if you look a little bit further, maybe the next years, everybody now talks about AI on the seller side, so the seller optimization. But only a few people talk about the buyer side. But AI will also change the buyer side. And I think if you talk about customer experience, it will be quite challenging. What will the customer experience will be when the customer will not be a person anymore? The customer will be an AI model on the other side. So will the AI model have the same expectation of customer experience, or would it be totally different? So I think you talked about it in the hotel.
Yeah.
You have a queue with a personal assistant and the company. I think if you talk to customer experience, we will see one way in customer experience with the personal way and one for the AI buyer. So I think it will be
the mix of both worlds, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Peter, for patiently going through some of these topics. What I would like to do now is, if you have any questions, we have some more time left, I think. You want us to address some of these questions? Yeah, please. Do we have a mic?
I do it.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
Hi, my name is Manya. Thank you both for the many insights you've given us today. My question to Peter is, how do you, when you have stakeholders who are saying we are implementing now this new system or group of systems for many hundreds of thousands or millions of euros, and we want to see top-line growth, how do you show them that this is through the improved customer experience and not just some marketing efforts or the economy being in the upturn or something like that?
Yeah, that's a pretty challenging topic. For me, in our company, it's a little bit easier because we are a private-owned company. So we have not so much shareholder. So it's easier to bring some, to talk with them. What are the expectations and what is the success? The difficult part is if you talk about customer experience, you don't have now the success. So yeah, it's pretty difficult. So you have to expect how you have to look further than 1-3 years maybe, and maybe you can take small steps. So you begin with a small part. Don't want to build the whole customer lifetime circle. So you maybe start with an onboarding journey, and there you can show how the success will be. So, but it's difficult, yeah.
I think one of the things that we try to implement is this feedback loop at every stage, wherever there is an interaction, whether it is your internal employee or an external customer. I mean, you obviously have standard surveys like NPS and all of that, but also a smaller scale feedback, right? Because customer may not want to fill a 10 questionnaire survey every month, but then, how do you pop in a small question just to improve that particular step? And there your CMS or whatever tool that you're trying to use, that should help you to enable it immediately, right? So that, for us, it has worked. Maybe something for you to try. Any other question? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for staying so long. I hope your 75 minutes was well used, but you all enjoy your 2 days at OMR. We are here, A1B01, yeah. If you don't want to listen about our tools, that's fine. We have some mochis. So you can come there, and it's going to be hot tomorrow. It's going to be hot today. Enjoy the mochis. We will not bore you with the product. Okay? Thank you very much. Thanks, Peter. Thanks a lot.